with sobriety, I think a lot of people like to really get it punched into your head that like you just can't do anything. When it rains, it pours, right? I lost my grandfather who was really, really close with me. Lost my relationship, lost my apartment, lost my job, like all in like a 2 week period. And that was right at the beginning of COVID. At that point, like I was using drugs and stuff that I never really thought I would do, which was wild. And my sister was like letting me like crash in her basement. It was like just like the depths of depression, really. And I just called my dad. Like, thank God. It was wild. Like I had to be like super high, but I had to like call him and be like, Dad, like I need to go to rehab like immediately. Like this is rough. Like I don't know how I'm gonna crawl out of this one. And I don't know if I would have done that if I was actually like in a sober mind. That started my sobriety journey, which coincided right with tattooing. All right, rules. Have fun and be yourself. Love that. Okay. Introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do? I am Mark Albert Barbera and I am a tattoo artist and I love to work with people. You dropped out of college to start a footwear company. What did that experience teach you about yourself? Gosh, that was a ride, man. Yeah, I guess I could kind of expand on that, but in 2017, I was in college and I'd like always been interested in design and like art and stuff like that, and always been pretty entrepreneurial as well, and had this kind of idea. At the time, there was like this certain type of boot that was popular, and I was like a broke college kid and couldn't buy one, so buy a pair. So I was like just kind of sketching it up, conceptualizing it, and I was home one day on break, and my dad was like, kind of just talking to me about stuff, and I was like, yeah, like this would be cool. Like I really think these boots are like look really cool, but I just like can't find a pair that I like. And he was like, why don't you just take it to the local boot factory? And I was like, local boot factory? What are you talking about? Like I had no idea that it even existed, and that started like a 6 year ordeal for me. That was really crazy, but the long and the short of it is we had a factory in the very small town that I grew up that's like one of the last American manufacturers of footwear in the whole country. And they do it really old school. Goodyear welt manufacturing, which is like makes your shoes resolable and really high quality. And it taught me a lot about myself though, because I was young. I became obsessed with it, like everything that I kind of do. So I went to that boot factory with this concept, and I was like, hey, like, could you guys make this boot? Like, just being like, maybe they'll make me a pair. And they're like, yeah, like, if you give us like 14 grand, because like, we have to like build out all the equipment and design it. And it would be like like a real production line. And I was like, well, I have $300. So, and I'm working a summer landscaping job. So I took that money and I paid my friend who's also like in videography and stuff like that, um, to make a Kickstarter campaign video, launch a Kickstarter. That was in 2017. Um, and that was successful. That kind of gave me like the seed money to kind of start the business, and that's when that next semester I just like left school and focused on that, and it turned into like a whole thing, man. I mean, like I got to travel a lot. I got super involved in the factory, super involved in the manufacturing side of things. They hired me on to design for their in-house brands, while I was also making my own brand. And that kind of just started this process of like juggling a lot of, I guess, spinning a lot of plates and wearing a lot of different hats for me. But I was probably the biggest lesson was like, I had a lot of like anxiety about it and I didn't really know how to deal with it. So I had like no positive outlet, you know what I mean? So that's whenever I was just like getting pretty reckless with like drinking and drugs and stuff. And I just was like really good at masking it for a while. So also it was kind of like unconventional because I was 20 years old or whatever. And I was like going to like these menswear shows in New York and Las Vegas. And I was going to PT Uomo in Florence, which was like a big menswear show. And it was like, it fueled my ego, but I was also like super insecure at the same time. And I didn't know how to handle like the ups and downs of the stress of the financial side and all of that. And yeah, man, it taught me a lot because it ended up kind of, it was a great lesson. I had basically this whole deal set up to try to acquire the factory that I was working with, and that fell through on several occasions, and kind of like fractured that relationship with the owner of the factory, who was like almost like a grandfather to me. So it sucked a lot, but we got to like got to like make amends to him, which was really cool. And I ended up just stepping away from it like maybe 3 years ago because I had simultaneously started tattooing on the side. I never thought it would be like my thing. I was just like, I'll just make some money, and this will help me live, because the other brand was like, it was just hard to like at the end of the day make a lot of money doing it. But yeah, I don't know. Taught me a lot about myself. Taught me a lot about failure. Taught me a lot about just like smelling the roses too. I think that was another big thing. Like I would set these goals with the brand. Like maybe it would be like, oh, I want to hit like this number in revenue, or I would love to be invited to this trade show, or I would love to get picked up by this retailer. Like, and by the time it would happen, I would just already be like on to the next thing. And I like never had a chance to like really think about how cool that was. You know what I mean? So I think perspective was a big thing that taught me as well. The pivot to tattooing and sobriety journey. Man, yeah, it's heavy. So for me, I don't know. I started like probably like most people. I was just like drinking and smoking and stuff at a young age. I was like 14 when pretty much like I think started, but like regularly. But I definitely knew, like for me, and any of my friends who have known me for a long time can probably testify to this. Like I don't know. I'm not great with moderation. Still not great with moderation. So what happened with my brand was like I had hit in my personal life, just hit a wall. About maybe like 6 months. This was in like 2019, probably like 6 months before COVID. I was just like, I would just have these times where I would just go on like a random manic bender, and I would also try to like do all the shit I had to do with like work at the same time. So I just remember I had like, we were getting ready for this big event at the factory, and I just like blacked out in the middle of the day. It was really bad. It was like I was in the office, and it was they kind of thought that I had like a medical emergency or something. They didn't know what was wrong with me, and they like called my parents, and they were like, thank God they just called my parents. But they're like, yeah, did your son have like some condition? And my dad picked me up, and I was just blacked out. It was pretty bad. But that's when I started like going to meetings and stuff. Unfortunately, that wasn't like the sticking point for me though. Like probably 8 months later, I had another series of unfortunate events and just kind of relapsed, and it was even worse that time. And I don't know, like with sobriety, I think a lot of people like to really get it punched into your head that like you just can't do anything. It kind of like when it rains, it pours, right? You know what I mean? You gotta have. So I lost my grandfather, who was really really close with me, and then like lost my relationship, lost my apartment, lost my job, like all in like a 2 week period. And that was right at the beginning of COVID. And I just remember like I was pretty beat up about things going on, and I didn't want to like really reveal anything to my parents. And at that point, like I was using drugs and stuff that I never really thought I would do, which was wild. And my sister was like letting me like crash in her basement. It was like just like the depths of depression, really. It was pretty pathetic. And I just called my dad. Like, thank God. It was wild. Like I had to be like I was like super high, but I had to like call him and be like, Dad, like I need to go to rehab like immediately. Like this is rough. Like I don't know how I'm gonna crawl out of this one. And I don't know if I would have done that if I was actually like in a sober mind, like, which is crazy. But yeah, like that started my sobriety journey, which coincided right with tattooing, like the real sobriety journey, because after rehab, like I said, I kind of lost my job with the factory, but I still had my brand. But COVID happened and the world was shut down. So like I moved back in with my parents, which like sucks when you're like 22 or whatever, 23, and like you'd already had your own independence. So that was definitely an ego deflator. And all I had to look forward to was Zoom meetings for recovery. And I was in rehab, and they would, people would ask me to draw stuff for them, and I was just like trying to kill time. And so I did that. And then when I got out, I was like already interested in, I had tattoos. And so I kind of just was like, there were only so many things that I could control in my life at that time. It was like, I wake up, I go to Zoom meetings so I don't lose my mind. The world is shut down. But what I can do every single day is like draw something and paint something and start a project in the morning and finish it by the night time. And it was like, that's what I would do like every day. So I turned my personal like page into an art page. And that's how I met who would become my tattoo mentors. They were amazing. I just like kind of replied to their Instagram story one time. Just about like something menial about tattooing, and they were like, hey, like we noticed you do like you make kind of like, at that time I was just painting like really traditional flash, like super different from what I do now, but that's what I was into. And they were like, have you ever thought about tattoo apprenticeship? And I was like, yeah, like, but I never really like thought that would materialize. So yeah, at the beginning it was weird because I definitely balanced the two. Like my apprenticeship was interesting because I would drive like an hour each way for that, and my mentors are like incredibly talented artists. But basically, I was still juggling my footwear brand and the apprenticeship. And this was probably like, I first like got sober in March of 2020. And so this was probably in like July. So I was like pretty new to sobriety, but definitely gave me a lot of hope. And kind of just started the journey. So tattooing is much more than putting art on skin. Can I explain this? Yes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's so cool. Like, now I'm realizing that, like, I love making art and I love the design, and that is fantastic. But, like, what keeps me so passionate about it is, like, the human interaction element. It's so cool. One day I could be working with somebody who is getting their, in their doctorate program for philosophy. And then the next day I'm working with somebody that's like, a special operator in the military. Like it's the craziest variety of people. And I think that's what's so beautiful. Like it keeps me, I can't have a closed mind on like really anything when I'm working with such a wide range of people. You know what I mean? So it like keeps me really open minded and tolerant, and it's cool because like people come in just like this space, like you're creating, and that's why I really like respected what you were doing, because you're harboring a space where people can like just be themselves and kind of talk about their life. And a lot of times that's what I feel like we're doing at the shop. Like even to the extent that like, we're so consumed with our phones now, but um, when somebody's getting a tattoo, like they're pretty present. It's like one of the only times like we have 6 to 8 hours per session, and we're just like there. You know what I mean? So like you can't really be like on your phone or anything. So it opens up this like door to like dialogue that I've never really experienced, where there's like no real distractions. And so people get to confide in me, I confide in them, they can ask me questions, we can talk about funny stuff, deep stuff. Like it's really beautiful. And it says, what is your mission? And that's kind of like my mission now. It's like if I could like kind of pick one thing that like an overarching theme for my life right now, is it's probably just there's so much to be grateful for, for really like a lot of different people. And I think perspective is everything. And I've learned that, like, I guess I know that people have a lot of different struggles, and we all like have our own walks and stuff. But one thing that's really stood out to me, with perspective is like, one of my mentors, he's kind of just like a father figure to a lot of us in sobriety, and he's just one of those guys. He's probably in his 50s, but you just kind of hope you could be like him someday. Uh, but he really kind of, something that he shared stuck with me, and I share it a lot. But when it comes to like perspective and gratitude, like he lost his daughter unexpectedly to like a health thing when she was 18 years old. And I think a lot of people, that would like just ruin them, or maybe send them back out and they would get relapse or whatever. Like I certainly think like I would be susceptible to that. But when you ask him about like that experience, and this is like from the people that were there when it happened, like he would just be like, we were just so blessed to have her for 18 years. Like having that grace and that perspective is just mind blowing. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what I try to impart on people. Like, you can always like look at things as a lesson, or like let it kind of ruin you. And so, um, what do I love most about tattooing is just that, the human interaction element. Um, I've got to I've had the opportunity to have like a little bit of an impact. It's been really cool. I'm an open book, so people sometimes will ask me about, recovery or whatever. And I've had a few situations where people have reached out like months after, and they've been like, hey, like, just wanted to let you know, like, I kind of started my own recovery journey. I'm like, that's so cool. Like that is to me, like, that's paramount to anything I could do. So yeah, just like getting to know people, like kind of creating real friendships. That's the beautiful thing to me about tattooing. If your younger self was here with us right now, what would you say to him? If your future self was here with us right now, what would he tell you to stop holding back? It's a good one, man. I think to my younger self, I would probably say just be patient. I think a lot of my life, and still now, I struggle with, I just go like 100 miles an hour. I don't know if it's ADHD or what, but I had like no semblance of patience, and also like I'm still extremely insecure, but like I was way more insecure, and I think that manifested in a lot more like just being a mean person. And I don't think I was like necessarily ever like that was my intention, and it's just I didn't know how to express myself. So I would probably just say like be patient. Things will materialize as they should in God's time, and I would say be kind too. The patience thing for me is big, because when I'm not patient, especially when I was younger, I would have these moments where uh, I would just blurt something out, and it would be like a horrible thing, and I'd be like, oh, like the second it leaves your mouth, you're like, oh, what the hell did I like? What am I? And it's not like reflective of your character. It's just like the first thing that comes to your mind. Like most people have that filter that's like, don't say that. I just didn't. You know what I mean? And so that got me in a lot of trouble when I was growing up. And so yeah, man, just be patient. If my future self was here, what would he tell you to stop holding back? That's a good one too. I don't know about like holding back, because I feel like I don't hold back very much right now. I think actually my future self would maybe tell me to slow down a little bit. Like right now, I justify it by saying that like, well, I don't have kids yet, so I'm working at this feverish pace because but like I don't really know. It does feel wild. I'm like turning 30 this year, and the last 5 years is literally like a complete blur, like in a beautiful way, but it really is. It goes so fast. Um, so I would probably tell myself, my future self would probably say like, yo, chill out, have more days off, go see your parents more. You know what I mean? That's probably it. Because in terms of like holding back, I don't really think I hold back much. I have a the only reason why I'm able to work as much as I do, or I don't know, like do that and have service obligations or whatever, is because of like the routine I've built. So that's really important for me. My prayer routine, my meditation routine, like the things that I do to take care of my body, if I don't do that, then like my life just implodes. When it comes to recovery, like I have a home group meeting that I go to, and that's just once a week. But outside of that, it's really cool. I've had the opportunity to sponsor people in recovery. And so usually like when you're actively sponsoring somebody, usually I'm sponsoring like one person at any time. And that's like a weekly meeting where they'll come over to my house and we'll read out of the book and I'm not giving them like anything that I wasn't given. So it's literally just exactly what my sponsor gave to me. I'm just giving that to them. And it's not me, it's just passed on, you know what I mean? Which is really cool. But that's a lot because like at this like right now my schedule is like I work 6 days a week. And so everything I do has to be like in the evenings. So like my meetings on a Monday evening, usually sponsorship is possible on a Tuesday evening. I work out on a Tuesday evening. I have Muay Thai on Wednesday evening. Thursday evening I work out. Friday evening I do usually like a workout or sponsorship thing, and then Saturday it's like my long day because I usually do appointments on that day, and then Sunday's my day off. So it's a lot, but that routine's really important because if I'm not like blowing off steam, whether that's in the gym or at Muay Thai or whatever, like yeah, it's just not good. You know what I mean? Like I have too much pent up energy. Um, what's the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? And what are you learning to love about yourself? Man, fire questions, dude. You got me thinking here. What is the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? Yeah, I think like echoing what I said before, like genuinely there's so much to be grateful for. In my life, I've been fully aware of that. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but I think maybe when I turned like 25, I started feeling this way a little bit, but like my prefrontal cortex like fully developed or something. And it was just like, I was just like thrown into a whole new dimension of like realizing what was happening around me. And lately I've just been blown away by that because I'm so grateful for things like the fact that my parents have given me so much grace and I have like such an incredible like family unit. That's like so it's such a blessing. I can't even put that into words. I have my wife who's like my best friend. She's super creative. We have like the perfect balance of like she's very independent and so like I am too, and so like our work schedules are completely, separate, and it just like the balance works really well. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And then probably the most important decision I've ever made in my life is getting sober, and that's what has set the foundation for all of these other things to for me to even be grateful for those things. So yeah, biggest lesson is just gratitude. Like if I start my day, you know, the right way and I think about what the things that I have, like how can I not be positive that day? And what am I learning to love about myself? That's a tough one, dude. We were actually in a meeting this past week and we were talking about like self-love was the topic, and like just being real, like on a surface level, insecurity, I don't know if that's ever going to change for me. You know what I mean? But like, and I don't know if I talk to people sometimes, like, our logic in our brain is sometimes like flawed. Like, especially me, like, I have like raging OCD. So, like, I will have illogical thoughts all the time. Sometimes I have to check that against like my actions. So for me, like what I love about myself right now, or what I'm learning to love about myself, is like I can kind of still hate like things about my image or the way I talk or whatever it is, but like my actions are generally pretty good, and like I try really hard. So I like that. Like I like that I'm pretty resilient. And if I'm another thing I owe it this completely to sobriety, but like in my life now, if I have something come up, I feel so guilty so quickly that like I squash that right away. Like, and that's all sobriety. And yeah, like I'll give you a funny story, but like an example of that. And this is just truly the way that I live my life. Like in recovery, we're basically a bunch of, you know, people that just don't do drugs. So you just do all the shit that you did when you were like 12 years old, but it's more like wholesome and childish, I guess. So the latest obsession of my friends is pickleball, and I don't really care for pickleball, like whatever. It's not something that's ever been on my radar, but we went, my friend like kind of like kidnapped me after the gym. He was like, we're gonna go play pickleball, and I was like, all right, bro, like whatever. So a bunch of the guys were over there playing pickleball. It was my first time, and one of my friends, he's like pretty good at pickleball, and I also know he's really competitive. And we started. He was on my team, and he like kind of started like fucking up a little bit, and he was throwing it all at me, and I was like, yo, what the hell, bro? Like this is my first time playing. Like chill, like shut up. And so at the end, like he kept doing that, and I was just like kind of whatever. And at the end, um, they were all like, "Yo, like touch paddles. Like, how was your first time playing, Mark?" And I was like, "Honestly, not bad. Like, it was pretty fun." I was like, "Yo, B dog, like, I'm not playing with you again. You're a dickhead. Like, I love you, but like, not like, you know." And they were like, "Oh, bro, what do you mean? You're so like, you're gonna come at him like that?" And I was like, "No, dude. Like, I love you, but like, I don't know. I'm already pretty insecure. Like, I've never played this before, and I felt like I was just getting shit on the whole time." And so I just had to say my piece. And it's funny though, like, you know, I right there I said it, and then I was like, love you, dude. Like, no problem, but I had to be honest with you. And then like sure enough, 2 hours later, I get a text from B Dog, and he's like, hey man, I was thinking about my actions today, and I was hoping I could make amends to you. Like, and I was like, dude, that's so cool. But that's really like the cycle that when you're living like, you know, when you're really trying to live by like a 12-step program, like you, my friends hold me accountable, I hold them accountable. And it's like a few years ago, like growing up, I never had that really good core group of friends. Like I'm the youngest of six kids. All my siblings are like very different, but like more just like traditional climb the ladder type. But some of them had like really great friend groups, and I would be super jealous of that. Like, you know, they'd have the friends that they were friends with since like grade school and their wedding, and I was like, man, like, guess it's never happened to me. You know what I mean? And like last summer, I was at a wedding, and I was looking around, and I was like, dude, this is it. This is my family. Like these are those friends, and it happened in such a beautiful way because like the thing that we have shared together is like something that's like literally holding our lives together now, which is like our recovery. So yeah, that's super rad. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? Man, it feels good. I think it's really cool what you're doing. Um, I like how like raw and real it feels. You know, like I just knocked on your door, walked in. Hey, nice to meet you. Sit on down. It's a chill environment. I can smell the incense going on here. It's nice, and I love the format of the cards too. I was wondering how that, because I was watching the videos and I was like, huh, I wonder how that is. Um, but I like that. The biggest takeaway, oh man, I think it's really cool to be able to talk about my experiences, and not in the sense that like it's like I want to like trauma dump or whatever, but just more so like maybe you could say something that would be impactful to someone, you know? Because I know that that's how my life has gone. Like I've met so many people that have probably said something that they didn't even think about, and it like really stuck with me, you know? So that's pretty rad. And then biggest takeaway in terms of life right now, I would say, like I said, just try to keep things in perspective. There's a lot to be grateful for, no matter what's going on in the world. Another thing I'll share, like, I think right now, especially with my life, you probably feel this too. Like, when you have any type of career or passion that is social media adjacent, it can feel like super heavy. Like, as I've like, now that I'm sober, like, I actually have emotions and empathy and shit. So that kind of sucks sometimes. But like, being on social media so much or being online so much, like, everything feels so divisive and it can feel like really heavy. Um, but I think maybe like last year or something, just I was feeling the weight of all of these things going on in the world, and I took a step back for like the day and I was like, dude, like, I'm gonna put down my phone and I'm just gonna focus on actual human interactions in my life. And it looked like me going to the store and somebody opens the door for me at the gas station, and I say thank you. And then I go up to the cashier and they're like, how you doing today? Oh, great. Like, thanks. And, getting a coffee and having like a little conversation with somebody. And we might be like completely different people, but that's the beauty of it. Like, I really feel like when we live in the present, like, things aren't so divisive, and most people generally want the same things, and it's just to be like happy and fulfilled and seen and all these different things. So yeah, I mean, perspective is everything, and just try to be grateful for what you have. I think that's probably my final thoughts, but thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That was rad. Yeah, heck yeah, dude.